how this works. It's real nice. Setting up your meeting.
Yeah.
It's not really a meeting. It's it's the pod.
It's a referendum.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, as good as it's gonna look. That team. Oh well. Go Caps.
All right. Here we go. People are getting their People are getting their noties. People, they're ready for the pod to get going. This is pod pregame. It's just behind the scenes, Bill and I.
It is, yeah.
Nobody watches this part of the pod probably, unless they're starting from the beginning.
Which, who knows? Maybe possibility.
I don't think people do.
This is as quick a change as I got. I have my work khakis still on and everything else.
Do you?
I'm not wearing work paraphernalia.
You're not wearing work.
During
your caps.
Generic.
Look at I got team of the week on.
That's right. Yeah, damn right you do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it here, Bill. We'll fire it up. We'll hit the record button and we'll go.
Cool.
Record on this computer. Hey, everybody. It's the Empire Hockey Podcast. Perry the Commish. Ferda Bill. Say hi, Bill.
What's up?
We're here live, as we are every week, since last week on YouTube. bringing you the rundown. Sorry, that was probably a bad time to sip, but gotta get my coffee in.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, that's
absolutely. Also gonna crack this Budweiser.
Got a water.
Nitro Reserve Gold.
Sounds made up.
It is. I made this can myself.
You brewed it, fresh hops and everything.
It's fresh Budweiser.
Nice.
I feel like Harry Carey.
Hey, it's time to pod.
It's time to pod, Bill. You know what that means? We're going to the Gritty Gazette, okay? Because that's what we're about here.
Computerless version this week.
I know, from the phone. Probably had a kid on his lap in his arm, doing it one-handed probably.
That takes
comes from our good friend Patrick, who's no longer the birthday boy, but it didn't stop him from getting us the rundown here. Top three teams of the week, Bill.
All it takes is declaring that you're going to sell, and you go nuts.
That's right. Just say you're going to sell off.
Yeah.
Bay, Sheridan. Top team of the week, followed by the Red Wings and the Ducks. And the Ducks, by the way, we'll get to that later, but huge win for our guy.
Well, that you talk about week after week. What makes this league so much fun, Perry, is like last night. At least myself, certainly Shy Vegas and Ducks, were watching a 5-1 hockey game on the Sunday night on NBC Sportsnet, which becomes a 5-2 game. It becomes a 6-2 game, but we're on the edge of our seat. Because literally, like, every little thing that's happening in this game of Red Wings Blackhawks is like predicating on who wins this matchup. It was just outstanding.
You could have like an oral history of that, like of that fantasy hockey game. Really, it was like goal here, and then the Hawks couldn't give up a goal because that would put Bruce down. Good old Lank Daddy, I believe, is the
Lankinen,
right?
Coined,
saved his bacon.
Mm-hmm. We went nuts.
Saves.
Yeah.
A lot of saves.
Which is, of course, somewhat observing by you because you're a Malcolm Subban owner. So you're like, come on, hey.
Malcolm's been arguably the better goalie, like on a per game basis.
True, but Lankinen's playing a lot more, though.
Oh, no. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying Subban has been one of the hottest goalies in the NHL. Anyway, he had one bad game the game before that. But anyway, let's get to our top three skaters. Jelly had Patrick Kane, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stop, won't stop. Alex DeBrincat for the Hartford Whalers. Joe, actually, the Whalers owner, is a Blackhawks fan. He's from Chicago. That's why he's a big DeBrincat guy. He's probably loving that the Hawks are relevant again because they've been, pretty bad for the last number of years here.
Playing well.
Johnny Canuck and the Ferda boys. Chris Kreider went off for the Rangers. Bunch of chip goals and stuff in front of the net, but
Yeah,
It's done.
raise your hand if you had Sam Gagne and Chris Kreider as your most goals in the week crew with 4. Yeah.
I know. I almost picked up Gagne a couple weeks back, but again, another horrible decision by me. Also, to give up so many fantasy points every single week, which it's like, almost like a weekly segment, Bill.
163, 148, 122 and a quarter.
Unbelievable.
Was
Anyway,
it Hartford, your brethren, this week that you shared in giving up a ton of points? I think it was Hartford.
Yeah, Boston too somehow is up there with me in overall points allowed. Vasilevsky, another big game. He's probably up there for Vezina.
He's bonkers from a fantasy standpoint.
Right. Arvis. Then you got Hartford Whalers with Bernier. You got the Golden Seals with Mike Smith. And then finally he gets to the fact that Chicago dropped its first game of the season to drop to 17-1, the game we talked about.
Yes.
Ridiculous. The game of the week going in, right, Bill, was Winnipeg, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Also a good matchup, but didn't have quite the same drama at the end of the day.
Well, it was just a typical, what was it, 163 to 148, 3/4 scoring there, where nobody had less than, I want to say it was like 84 points this week. So like that, I mean, maybe it was because there's more games, but there was a lot of points being had this week too.
Yeah, and of course, the expansion team I lose to. This is a classic Minnesota sports team. I will say that. The Yotes come in at 1-14, I think, and I lose to them.
Coyotes went nuts
because he dropped 122 on me.
Yeah, he went because you played him. Yeah,
122. Yeah, that's what I do to people. Yep.
Goodness.
Red Wings also had a big week, as we mentioned. Boston probably are one of the tougher weeks. They get swept there. I get swept. Golden Bears get a win against Portland. As Portland, our other expansion team was
Golden
the other
Seals.
you mentioned. Yep, Golden Seals get a win. That's big time.
You called them the Golden Bears accidentally.
I did call them Golden Bears. Yeah. That's going to happen again. I promise.
That's okay.
Any other games stick out for you? Obviously, the Chicago Ducks game was a 3-point game in the end, but it seemed closer than that all the way.
Well, the oh, goodness gracious, the Nicorette Patch Adams division, which continues to be insanely close. We talked in the last week's pod with Ryan of the Sabres.
Mm-hmm.
One of the key matchups for him, he had to face Ducks, and that was it's like 166, 148, another crazy score like in that one where since Ducks scored all those points, he beat Sabres by with 16 points. He scored 148, you lose by 16 or whatever it is.
After the dust settled there, right, in the division for this week at least, Nordique's on top at 11-7. They're a point ahead of Buffalo, who has that tie. Could come into play at the end of the year.
Well, it was if we're going into teams of the week, which we mentioned Tampa Bay, but you have to give the entire province of Quebec team of the week because Quebec was 3-0 and Montreal was 3-0. So what was it? Oh yeah. So for Quebec to go 3-0, Marcus Foligno had 23 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, +3, 11 PIMs, Gordie Howe hat trick, which I love that you give points for Gordie Howe hat tricks.
He has 3 of them in his career now.
Yeah.
More than Gordie Howe had. He only had 2.
And was it, I think I wrote down -20 Corsi because it's not official or whatever, but yeah. So,
no, that's in there just to help you kind of try to decipher.
Yeah.
But Foligno is having quite a year.
All of that with -20, yeah. So
yeah. Overriding stat.
And Quebec went 3-0 with Markstrom injured all week too, as his goalie. So
don't need a goalie. I've gone negative and lost. So with the goaltending. Bill, how did your team fare this week?
0-3. Did not win. We faced Tampa, who had 178. Pittsburgh had 138, and Ottawa had 139. Okay. But I will say this, and this is really probably more. I think it's shame on the league more than anything else because my highest point producer this past week was my free agent pickup of the previous week. I randomly picked up Carl Soderberg to fill up my skater position because he existed, had a pulse, and he had 2 goals, 3 assists. We had like 18 points and was like the top 15 skater for the week in the league, which tells you everything you need to know about my team. But it is still somewhat incredible to me that he was just kind of sitting there. But also it's that, and this is something I like to do. I rage claimed a guy last night because Carpenter scored twice in that Blackhawks game. So I was like, screw it, I'm picking him up. And I think I picked him up for Jay Beagle or something like that. So Carpenter's now in my lineup.
I almost tweeted this, Bill, last night lying in bed, and I said, this is related. I'm scrolling through my emails, and I get an email that says Jay Beagle has become a free agent in the Empire Hockey. It's like, man, what kind of league am I running where somebody owns Jay Beagle?
Yeah.
But also it was like a positive. It was like, that's the kind of league I want to belong in.
It's part of what makes it great. Yeah. And
I love that Jay Beagle was dropped last night. It made my night, really. It was like, I was going to bed. I was like, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, I did. My bench, let me see. Let me add up real quick. My bench.
Yeah.
I have by your league's financial standards, I have $14,450 on my bench with 3 players.
Yep. Which is
Max Domi, Brandon Montour, and Kyle Okposo, who are just doing it up.
Want to specify to anyone who's maybe be listening to this and doesn't know exactly what the league uses. We do use total salary, which is salary earned for the player that year. So it's not a cap hit number. It's the amount of money they earned that year, which fluctuates a lot more than cap hit does, which makes it a little more interesting where guys like who have front loaded contracts for older guys, it's kind of cool because then you're not paying Sidney Crosby, for my example. It's not, whatever it is, whatever the cap hit is, it's not $8 million every year. It's 13 when he's great, right? 13, 9, 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's the last 3 years of his career, I think he's making $3 million a year, which is fun because then players can still be owned and you're not feeling like you're wasting your time with those kind of guys. Same with like a Carey Price where his contract is front loaded. It's funny because the teams try to flip in like a 13 million. It's like it drops down to like 8 and then bounces back to 13. You're like, wait a minute, do I want to trade him and not own him next year and then own him the year after? It gets into you kind of make a spreadsheet is what I do, obviously. That's what a lot of owners do. I'm sure you have something similar where it's like have the salaries for your players kind of spanned out over the next 5-6 years.
The good owners do, yes.
Yeah, it's a really simple thing to do. It's simple spreadsheet stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Even I can figure it out. Let's go through the standings, Bill, because we are getting close to obviously trade deadline.
Sunday
is coming up. Yep, Sunday. We'll start. We touched on the Nicorette Patch Adams division. Nordique's 22 points in the lead, 11-7. Sabres right behind, 21 points, 10-7-1, and then right behind them, a point behind Montreal, 10-8. Still in the hunt. Ottawa at 9-9. The Whalers still in it at 8-9-1, and then Boston having a tough year. He became a seller, 6 points for the Bruins there. Moving up to the Jurassic Park Smythe division, and Declan having a massive year. And if it wasn't for Chicago, he's the team we're talking about, right? He's the
still
leader.
Point leader, 2008 points this year. Yeah.
16-2, 32 points for the Jets. Then the Ducks, who just beat Chicago, 14-4. They're kind of leading the way in that division. Sneaky there is Jelly, who hopefully has got all his power and his food didn't spoil down in Texas. He's 10-8 with 20 points. Johnny Canuck, 10-8 as well, 20 points. These are teams that are like playoff, on the edge there in for now. Sharks, 14 points, 7-11, because they need a couple big weeks to get back into it. Then we have our Golden Seals, new ownership there from the Monarchs. He's just trying to turn that ship around. And then Phoenix at 2-16, but his second win of the year, of course, was against me last week. to get to 4 points, because why not? Chick-fil-A North. Go ahead.
I do want to say though, when you look at all those teams in the Jurassic Park Smythe division, there is only one team though that runs a cookie business through the mail. Or
yeah, you're right, Jelly,
cookies.
and we're still waiting for some samples to be sent to the league office, but. Obviously, with the weather they're having down there, they'll have to wait.
Yeah, if you're looking for X factors, though, you have to consider that. That's important.
I do look for X factors, and that is one of them. To my division, Chick-fil-A, obviously Chicago took their first loss, 17-1, 34 points for Tom. Red Wings, solid team at 12-6, 24 points. Then you have Tampa and Toronto. They're kind of both of those teams are real kind of mood swingy, it seems like.
Tampa went nuts last week and Toronto went nuts the week before. Yeah.
Right. But they're both 9-9, so that kind of makes sense. They're
sort of right on the cusp, close, but not quite.
if they get hot, they can both get in.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
St. Louis hanging around at 6-11-1, kind of hanging around. I'm 5-13-0, 10 points gross, giving up 2,300 points on the year. That's not going to cut it.
No.
And then Portland, another expansion team, 4-13-1, 9 points. For Nick, who's learning the ropes in the league, and he's not having too bad of a first year. He's got some guys, obviously his first overall pick from the Kings, not playing yet, but he'll be contributing next year. I'm blanking on who he took. Who's the kid they took second overall?
The Kings guy. Is it Byfield?
I'm blanking on his name. Why can't I think of it?
Max. Right? Isn't it Matt Byfield? No.
Oh, Quentin Byfield.
Quentin Byfield. Yeah.
I should have. That's all on me. Anyway, Byfield's going to play. He's going to be a big boy, big power forward for them in the future. And we do have the tournament, but to get to that top pick next year, but he'll be playing for that most likely. And then finally, our AT&T Lilly division, Lilly Patrick division, Bill at the rear there at 315, 6 points. Ross, 14-4. He sneakily has a great team every year, and I think it's solid, consistent play. We'll have to get him on the pod sometime. What do you see from the top down there? Obviously, the Islanders right behind him, 2 points behind, 13-5.
Yeah, those are two really good teams at the top. Flyers has had a good year. Rangers is right in the mix too at 9-9. The thing I do enjoy when I do some look at the research each week is Pittsburgh is always up there in league hits. Penguins has a good team, but he also has a very physical team, which is very enjoyable to track each and every week. Trying to see if I have that list somewhere. I thought I had it somewhere, maybe not.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the rundown of the league. We'll get to the playoff picture now. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, he had 104. Montreal gets credit. He had 118 hits this week. So Montreal had 108 and Pittsburgh got 104.
Wow.
Yeah. Guys just going around skating and hitting.
I mean, that's big time.
Well, I mean, if I remember right, I think I saw Radko Gudas is a 2-point a game player in the league. And if you're familiar at all with the Flyers and Caps for a cup of coffee last year, now I think he's a Panther. But Radko Gudas is not at all prowessed with really offensive skill. He just kind of has, he plays defense and tries to, make his presence known. But that's 2 points a week if you do it right, which he does. And it's cool, like you said, it goes back to this league where somebody can own him and he's productive.
Absolutely, Bill. I think we're gonna try to get Sherry on the pod if he can get on there.
Nice.
His team obviously was a team of the week. I'm wearing the jersey. Let's get to the playoff picture as it stands right now. We talked about some of the divisions. Last team in right now is the 10-8 Philadelphia Flyers, and there's 4 teams at 10-8. And I think Patrick did touch on this. You got the Arrows, Canadiens, Canucks, Flyers, all tied for that last, I guess, tied for 9th.
Yeah, well, you have 4 teams at 9-9, and then the Whalers are 8-9-1 too. So that's literally just one game back, and then you have even more teams, right there on the
9-9. Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the 9-9 teams are Ottawa, Rangers,
New York, Tampa, Toronto.
Yeah. And then the Whalers 1 point behind at 8-9-1.
Right. Yeah. They're all there in the mix.
It's going to be tough, as it was pointed out, decision-wise, as far as trades being made. But
and that's to clarify too. How many weeks is it following the trade deadline until playoffs start? I don't remember the schedule real well. When you're a 3-15 team, maybe.
There's 33 regular season games, Bill.
So and we're at 18. So
that's math that I can't do on copying and pasting.
Well, we've done 18. We've had 6 weeks, so that's 18 games. It can't be 33. It has to be either 32 or 36. Maybe it's 32.
Why can't it be
Because if it's
3-3.
three games a week, okay, yeah, it can be. All right, yeah, because I'm an idiot. So
no, you're not, but yeah, go ahead.
21, 24, 27, 30, 33. So 5 weeks. So there'll be 4 weeks after the trading deadline.
You said 4?
Yeah, because this will be week 7 or week 8. It'll be the completion of week 8. And that gets us through 21 games, which means 24 games, 27 games, 30 games, 33 games. That's 4 weeks.
Makes sense. Okay. So let's get to what teams we'd like matchup wise for the week. And we have another huge week of a lot of teams playing 4. Almost everybody seems like they're playing 4 games this week, Bill.
Mm-hmm. Just about.
Detroit's only playing 2. So if you have any Detroit guys, first of all, you have to question that in general. But then you have to question whether you play them. I have Patrick Namath, who just went on COVID.
Well, Sam Gagne, we mentioned, was the goal scorer, tied with Kreider last week. He had 4 goals, so you never know. Like whoever has Gagne is probably going to want to play Gagne, even with
because he plays for. He's on Detroit now.
Thought so. Thought he scored yesterday.
Yeah. No, I think.
Was it a different Gagne?
Sam Gagne used to play for the Oilers. I think. I think you're right. Yeah. No, you're right. But they only play 2 games, so maybe you don't want to play.
That's what I mean. He's one of the
point. Right.
He's one of the people you have to consider. Right.
Montreal playing 3 games. They got 2 tough ones. They're all at home though. Home against Ottawa. You can score some points there. But then the home against Winnipeg. That's a tough go. They
may score goals, but they're going to give up goals, and you know why that is, because I have Carey Price, and he's going to be active for the Capitals this week. So
we thought COVID, Bill, early in the year, we thought it would kind of derail things, but so far there was a couple of flare-ups where the teams missed a couple of weeks, but it seemed to have settled down. Is that what you've kind of seen from your end?
Well, we haven't seen the cancellations and the postponements that we had been seeing. You're right. It's going to be tough on the Sabres, who will, at least if nothing else, be playing lots of games down the stretch. So they potentially, though, are you have to call into question whether or not you play Sabres, I guess. It's just like you're questioning Red Wings, but we'll hear about that on the Slack board.
Exactly. And but it's just like you can only play so many games in a week, right? You're not playing double headers. It's not baseball. You can't play double headers. 4 is a lot. Like you're looking at 4, it's like, okay, where are you going to fit these in? How many times are you going to play back to back? You can't play 3 in a row.
Yeah, well, and that potentially too maybe is what helps some of the values of some of those defensemen that we were talking about, or other guys, where like if you're going to play 4 games in a week, you're going to play. You may not score, but you're going to hit, or you're going to get some of these other ancillary statistics in there. So
yeah,
those are some of the things you want to look for.
I mean, still scoring is still king. I think we joke about, got in a fight.
Correct. Yeah, was it Brendan Lemieux was brought up? I think he fought with a second left or something like that.
You can get to almost 2 points a game being a complete, bruiser.
Well, but you're also right. It balances out because there's games where they won't do that, and then if that's your week, then you can't rely on that.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a consistency thing, and and you're finding defensemen that can score. There's some guys that have stood out here. I want to go over some of the guys that have that are up there for some of the top players in the league. Go ahead, Bill.
Hedman, Winnipeg has gotten so much mileage out of Hedman.
Yeah, and he's been traded. He just got dealt, right? To Winnipeg.
In the off season, or was it during the season? And I was in a nap.
He got traded on February 3rd.
That's during the season.
From New Jersey.
I also just noticed this. And
Bo Byram, Marcus Johansson, Braden Schneider.
Byram, I see.
For Phil Tomasino, who's a minors guy, and Hedman going to Winnipeg. And some picks got swapped. So, yeah, Hedman, he's the second top D-man in all of fantasy hockey behind Daryl Nurse, your guy, that was a big hold for you. He's making a lot of money, but he's kind of a breakout year for Nurse, right?
Huge breakout year. Yeah. Like he sort of flirted with that potential, and now he's there. And like, I just wish I had maybe had 1 or 2 other, moves on my end that maybe had, if a couple more Darnell Nurses would help.
Exactly. And speaking of, guys kind of coming on this year, Jeff Petrie as well, from the Canadiens. He's always kind of been a 2.5 points per game kind of guy. He's over 3.5 now, 3.65.
Yeah.
He plays for Hartford, only making $4 million. Real big value play there. Drew Doughty, people think he's lost a step. I think he gets doubted a lot, right?
I see what you did there. Doughty.
Thank you. But I think he's people are saying he's old now. He's only 31 for one.
Was it the real life change of scenery may have helped, or has he always been in the same spot? I thought, didn't he get traded or something? Or
no.
Was that just in our league?
he got dealt in our league.
Okay.
But he's been a King for life.
Oh yeah.
And then your guy Carlson, you do have two of the top D-men in the league, so that's something for you to build around.
Yeah, I valued D really big when I came in. I got them, and like Montour's my 5th or 6th D, thinking he might turn out, and he's not been very good.
So those are your top, finishing off the top 10 D-men in fantasy hockey this year. Tyson Barrie in Edmonton now, came over from
Capital.
Toronto. Yep, having a real good year. He's the 6th best overall D-man. The points per game isn't terrific, 2.68. I mean, it's great for a D-man.
Yeah.
But he's just played every game, and if you play every game, you're gonna log those bulk
on the power play
points.
there, and they're gonna. I mean, when you have that, your running mates there in Edmonton, you're gonna get power play points, even accidental assists probably. So,
folks thought the Pionk deal was not great. The in real life trade for Jacob Trouba. It was kind of an odd trade, right, between the Rangers and Winnipeg. But Pionk, fantasy-wise at least, has come out on top in that deal, which people thought at the time was the other way, right?
Yeah, they go in the opposite direction.
Charlie McAvoy, young D-man. He's the youngest in the top 10. Or sorry, second youngest. How can I forget I can't even say his name.
Shesterkin or whatever? Or no, am I thinking the wrong guy?
No, yeah.
Igor.
Shesterkin. Yeah. Jacob Chychrun.
Oh, Jacob. Yeah, Chychrun. Yeah.
Chychrun.
Shesterkin's a goalie, I think.
Yeah, he's a goalie. Anyway, McAvoy, 23 years old, plays for Boston in real life. He's on the Sabres here, 3.2 points per game. And then the aforementioned Arizona Coyote, Jacob Shurkin, having a great season, 2.8 for him. He's only 22. He's breaking out. He had 2.2 last year in the shortened season, up from under 2 for his first 3 years. So some of these younger guys, Bill, takes 3 or 4 years to kind of come into their own, right? And we're seeing that on the defensive blue line there.
And again, it goes back though to like there was that debate in the group yesterday about was it Pavel Zacha had gotten dropped? Like, how long do you wait on a guy, or how long do you want to try to give a guy a chance? In this case, this year it was, the guy drops a guy and then he, has a 9-game point streak. So in real life anyway, but that's sort of another fascinating wrinkle is how long do I hold on to a guy in this league and, try to hope that this is his breakout year, this is breakout time, or when do you cut bait?
Yeah, no, you're right. Let's go over the top centers, Bill. We're kind of working backwards and around here, but currently the top centers in all of fantasy hockey, as far as the HA is concerned, there's really little doubt. And this is why I give myself a lot of credit, Bill, for my scoring system here. I mean, it's not hard to make sure that Connor McDavid is the best player, but it really is easy when he's doing what he's doing.
Yes.
McDavid's number one. He's making $14 million. He's only 24 years old, averaging 5.86 points per game. It's ridiculous. He has 14 goals and 26 assists, along with Leon Draisaitl, who can play both wing and center. He's almost more valuable, Draisaitl, right now.
Well, when you can play both, yeah, that's nice.
Right. He has it, but anyway, McDavid probably more valuable still, just because the sheer number of fantasy points, 134. I mean, Draisaitl's at 114, but Matthews is third at 112. Nobody else is really even within the same ballpark, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only 5 centers, eligible centers over 100 fantasy points. McDavid, Draisaitl, Matthews, Marner. That's it, right?
Mm.
But Matthews, 5.6 points per game. He's only played 20 games. He got the 18 goals. He's really been the goal scoring king so far this year. And he's had a lot of pressure on him, especially for, he's only 23 years old. You feel like he's been in the NHL forever. And especially in that Toronto media, it's like, you better produce. He's actually doing it. And this is like, Judge for the Yankees, right? He's like the guy in the biggest sports town for that sport producing, and he's doing it right now. And it's I think it's fun to see.
You're talking Matthews?
Matthews.
Yeah. And that's what's fascinating is you mentioned the top 4 centers, and that's 2 teams in real life.
Right.
It's 2 Oilers and 2 Maple Leafs. Yeah. So
in the same division this year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of what's been fascinating is like some of those teams are playing each other so regularly that it even magnifies it more, some of the pressure up there, at least from that standpoint. So yeah, and then what's it? Winnipeg's got some people that are coming up too that are going to be
Scheifele's next.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Scheifele, our next center. He's kind of in that next tier, right? You got, I'm not sure where Marner fits. He's kind of in his own kind of tier at 103 as far as fantasy output. Scheifele, Pavelski,
wow,
ageless, 5 points per game
for Pavelski.
For Dallas, but they have only played 16 games, obviously, because they had the issues with first it was COVID, then it was the storm and the winter in Texas.
Scoring like gangbusters for a while though.
Goodness, he has 10 goals and 10 assists in 16 games. It's ridiculous for Pavelski. He's on Vancouver. 36 years old. He's by far the oldest. I guess I shouldn't say that because right behind him is Kopitar, another ageless one, right? You're waiting for him to fall off. He's almost 4 points per game. Vinny Trocheck, who took a puck to the face a couple of weeks ago, is now in Carolina, and he has them playing as one of the best teams in real life in the NHL.
As a Capitals fan, they're my old nemesis teams, but it's the Panthers, the Lightning, the Hurricanes. That southeastern tier of hockey plays some damn good hockey. Like there's some really good games among those groups when they play each other enough.
Elias Lindholm, one of those those Swedish guys that kind of maybe get lost in the shuffle a little bit, but he's having another good year. He put together a similar year in 18-19. Where he had 27 goals and 51 assists for Calgary. But again, this year, 3.4 points per game. He's been right around that 3, a little under 3 the year before in the shortened year. But over 3 points per game, almost 3.5 points per game for Lindholm. He's only making 3.85. Real good value there. Nick Backstrom for your Capitals on the Ottawa Senators. He's making a lot of money right now.
He actually leads the Capitals in goals, believe it or not. He's like their leading goal scorer this year.
With 10 goals, yeah. Patrice Bergeron, who's always been a great two-way guy, 3.79, having one of his better, I think, offensive seasons for Boston. And as we pull up his career here, he had a 4.4, 18-19, he was unconscious, 32 goals, 47 assists.
Pretty damn good player, yeah.
But yeah, his last 4 years have been ridiculous. And he's not making a lot of money either, 4.375. We're getting outside the top 10. He was number 11 there. I wanted to mention him. Not wingers, not including the centers. Patrick Kane is the top winger in fantasy hockey at 103.
Goal 400 last
same
night.
Team. Yep. DeBrincat right behind him. Marchand. These are all 4-point change points per game guys.
That pains me.
Pavelski, another Dallas guy, another old. Oh, sorry, we already talked about Pavelski.
Yeah.
Brady Tkachuk, 21-year-old for Ottawa.
He's such a valuable player too because he's got that physical edge to him too. He'll score, a lot for them too. But he's got a decent amount of PIMs and hits, if I remember right too.
Oh yeah, 3.5 points per game. He's only 21. He's still on his ELC.
Yeah.
Great have there for Anaheim. That's why they're in the hunt, right? If anytime you can have a guy making under $1 million, scoring you 80 points so far this year is pretty good.
Having your prospects pan out.
Right. Huberdeau for Chicago. This is the funny thing about Chicago's team, right? You haven't heard any of those. This is the first time we mentioned the Blackhawks. That's a balanced team right there. Because Huberdeau is probably their most productive player at 4 points per game, 80 points on the year. I mean, it's just a lot of guys in that, top 20, top 30 range. That's how you win. He's kind of proving that having one of those top guys, they're helpful, but a lot of times they're eating a lot of your salary. And maybe leading the way in that charge, James Van Riemsdyk. First of all, I'm surprised that he's only 31 years old. But he's kind of come around a little bit because I felt like he was one of those guys who's in the NHL for so long that you feel like he's an old guy, but he's really not.
Well, how much of it comes into play that there's multiple Van Riemsdyk? So you keep hearing the name and you're like, oh, yeah, I've heard that name for 12 years. Well, maybe you have.
They're all New Hampshire
James's
guys.
For 12 years. Yeah. So.
They're all UNH guys, but I saw all of them play in college, every single one of them. All of them scare the crap out of me when they played RPI. But this is a career year right now, fantasy-wise, for James Van Riemsdyk. 4.4 points per game. His career high in fantasy points per game came in 2013-14 when he had 2.9 for Toronto when he scored the 30 goals and 31 assists. So this is kind of a late coming out party for Van Riemsdyk at 31. Flyers are a pretty good team overall, right? But he's having a great year for St. Louis, who isn't going anywhere in our league. We'll monitor that, right? See if he gets traded, because this is probably as valuable as Van Riemsdyk is going to be going forward. Is that what you see too, Bill?
Yeah, well, and you got 6 days to trade him if you're going to trade him. So
yeah, 6 days. Let's transition to our guest. It's Kevin Sheridan, owner of the Tampa Bay Rays. Sherry, can you hear me?
Oh. The Rays.
Oh,
Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm in base. My head is in baseball mode for some reason. I don't know why. Sherry, what's going on?
Not much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on Buckley's Zoom, but I love that. That's fine.
Yeah, I know. Not much,
awesome.
Man. Just enjoyed the 3-0 week.
Got to enjoy the 3-0 week. Let's get some questions for our guest. And who's been your surprise player? I ask this to every guest we have on, so it's our kind of standard question. Who's been your biggest surprise and your biggest disappointment so far this season?
Biggest disappointment would be pretty easy. That's probably Tony DeAngelo. Turns out he's still a huge racist and kind of not a good guy.
That was an easy one.
So he's not playing any hockey. So that's not good. Everyone, Capo Caco hasn't really performed very well. He's still very young, Yeah, and it's sophomore year, I guess. So he's in
sophomore slump.
To a slump, but he's not even slumping because he wasn't great last year either. Oliver Wahlstrom's had a nice week this last week. He's starting to show.
Yeah, he's almost 2.5
and Radulov's been good.
Radulov.
I was actually going to point out Wahlstrom.
Yeah, he's hurt now.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're on, because with Wahlstrom.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I didn't. My mic's doing weird things.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I want to ask you about Wahlstrom because when I was just looking through stuff for the week, his time on ice this week was 9:53, 10:14, 9:25, 9:59. So he's not even getting a ton of ice time each game, but he got in like 5 points. He's on the power play. He had 5 block shots or something like that too. Just great stuff.
A lot of power play points, which is maybe not sustainable, but it helps extra in the league. That's for sure.
I mean, and Sherry, throwing out Corey Perry and Patrice Bergeron, you probably have the youngest team in the league. It looks like. I mean, a lot of guys in their early 20s. A lot of guys minor league eligible. Minors eligible. It's a team
that's been the only saving grace with DeAngelo is he was minors eligible at some point.
Right.
I don't know if he
because he got sent down. Yeah, that did help you to be able to hold on to him. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what he's worth.
Yeah. I mean, you got Vasilevsky and Rene. Rene's kind of the end of his career, but Vasilevsky certainly in the peak of his powers here for you. I mean, it's got to be nice to have a goalie that can give you 112 points. We didn't get to the goalies in the rundown, Bill. But yeah, tell us about your in real life Lightning guy. Yeah.
I mean, he was he was my first overall pick. I don't know. He might have been, I think I might have had 5th, maybe, or 7th.
The inaugural draft?
The inaugural draft. I'm not sure exactly where. I'm not even sure if I can look it up.
I mean, goalie is, in my opinion, in fantasy hockey, and even in real life hockey, is the toughest thing to gauge, the toughest position to kind of predict, right? Because guys can be in one year, out the next. You see it all the time. Bobrovsky's comes to mind when he was with Columbus.
Carey Price this year.
Carey Price. I know you're a Montreal guy. I know you're a Montreal fan, but yeah.
Carey Price has been
I mean, look at this year. You got Vasilevsky number 1 right now, 7 points a game, 112 overall. He plays just about every game, right? Or most of the time. It's tough to play every game in this condensed schedule. Kevin Lankinen, who was basically a nobody, he's the number 2 goalie at 107. Varlamov, you figured he'd be good for the Islanders, right? He's 92. Hellebuck, same thing, probably up there. These guys are only making $4 million a year. Marc-Andre Fleury, who we kind of thought was maybe going to play second fiddle in Vegas, but he's been as good as he's ever been. And then Phil Grubauer, 81 points. Those are our top 6, all scoring over 80 points a game. And then Bill's guy, who's been sitting in his minors, Vitek Vanacek, 73. What pick was he in the minors draft?
It was like 8th or 9th round.
8th or 9th round pick in the minors draft.
And that'll work.
Well, I literally picked him up because that was around the time that the Hart thing happened with Lundqvist, and I knew that he was the only other goalie in the vicinity. So I was like, maybe he'll play. And I've still yet to activate him from the minors. And this is it takes a lot of skill for me to be 3-15. I mean, it really does. Because in the off season, last year I had Varlamov. And I was like, well, they've got Sorokin. He's going to get pressured. They're going to want to start playing. They have another kid, if I remember right, maybe another Russian. Maybe that's Columbus. I don't remember. But I was like, okay. And so
it's Columbus.
Okay, yeah. Price plays all the time. I actually have money. The Phoenix is trying to get rid of him. He picked him up simply because he needed to claim money to get the floor. I'm like, all right, I'll go after Price. So I dump Varlamov. I claim Price. I keep Vanacek on my bench. I'm 3-15. This is skill right here. That's what
You're doing a really good job, Bill.
Yeah, it's great ownership. And unlike this week for Tampa, you go out and you say the whole team's up for sale and you score 178 points. That's good management is what it is, right? That's a great tactic there.
Sherry, right? Sherry, what'd you do? You went to the locker room and said, if we don't start playing better, we're going to sell everybody?
Right?
How did that go?
That's what it seems like. Hey, message received.
Yeah.
Message received. You're down in Georgia. How is it down there? You're probably staying away from they're probably not getting the cold weather everyone else is getting, right?
Hey, we're great. 75 yesterday. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Bill and I just want to play golf, and we're not able to do that. So, have you gotten out recently?
Come down here.
Have you gotten out
3 times a week? Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Don't think I went Thursday. Could have played Saturday. Men's league hockey Sunday.
That's a good time.
Big sports week.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's. Why don't we get to this week's matchups?
I don't even know who I'm
Bill,
playing.
Well, this is a good time to look.
There's some good ones out there. The 3-15 Capitals and the 4-13-1 Pirates is not one of your matchups you want to watch this week. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, let's take a look at the matchups.
But like I keep going back to that Patch Adams division because I like it so much. Quebec and Buffalo are facing off. There's a couple teams that are going right at it with one another, but that's a huge one to watch. I think Winnipeg plays the Islanders this week too. So those are 2 really good teams playing each other.
Absolutely. See, I have Boston. Oh boy, battle of most scored upons. Okay. I have Patrick and the Islanders, and I have Joe Novak and the Hartford Whalers. Okay, we got those. We got what else we got here? You mentioned the one. Got 9-9.
Quebec plays Chicago too. So Quebec's not only got Buffalo, he's got Shy Vegas too. But Anaheim plays the Islanders. So the Islanders. Let's see. He's playing Anaheim. He's also playing Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the third team he's playing, but those are 2 brutal matchups right there.
Sherry has Toronto. That's a big one.
Big divisional matchup coming up. I have to make sure the lineup's squared away.
Both 9-9. You also have Detroit, another divisional game.
Yeah. We feel pretty good about our team.
Yeah, you should be. Still a ways to go, as you mentioned, Bill. Yeah, gotta get healthy. That's true for a lot of these guys.
Got Kako on COVID protocol. Borokop might be playing this week. Radulov, I don't think he's coming back this week. Yeah, hasn't started skating.
Oh boy.
Tough sledding out there.
Those player news things can kill you sometimes.
Yeah.
They pop up, you're like, what's going on?
One of the teams that may distance themselves if they go by standings is the Penguins, because Pittsburgh's got the 9-9 Rangers. He's got the Pirates, who are 4-13-1. And he plays the Sharks, who are 7-11, where we mentioned Islanders is behind him, but he's got two tougher games. So if Pittsburgh goes 3-0, they're starting to distance themselves in the Patrick.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Bill, and say our game of the week once again features Winnipeg. I think it's going to be Winnipeg at 16-2 versus the Islanders at 13-5. That's probably our game of the week, game to watch there.
Good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get down to the end here, we got the trade deadline coming up here. We mentioned some guys maybe that could be dealt. James Van Riemsdyk playing as well as he has. He's making $7 million.
Patrice Bergeron.
Patrice Bergeron. You know, Sherry can mention his own players if he wants. That's fine. Live on the pod.
Well, I mean, we did have the epic Jeff Skinner, Mark Stahl, Kiefer Sherwood exchange last week. So, I mean, you never know.
And for the first time ever, Bill, I don't think we have a live drop being made during the podcast. Oh, wait a minute. We do. Radim Simek has been dropped by the Vancouver Canucks. I think he just did it just to get on the podcast.
Breaking.
Two guys. He also dropped Scott. He added Scott Harrington, the D-man for Columbus, formerly of did he used to play for Dallas? I'm not sure.
Right. Hey, Mackenzie McEachern got picked up. There you go.
Hey, big news to Phoenix. Everyone's making moves today. I love that, Bill.
Well, and like it goes back to the whole I love fourth line guys getting picked up and like immediately going into lineups in this league because it has to happen at times.
Big move by Ducks earlier in the day. 5:24 a.m. adds Hayden Fleury. 5:26 a.m. drops Hayden Fleury. Probably
he was jacked up on there. He was jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I have to get him
Eastern
on to
time,
discuss.
Right? That's Eastern time, so that's only that's 3 o'clock.
That's
3:30 in the morning.
It's prime time for making moves.
3:30 in the morning. Bruce is out celebrating his big win over Chicago.
Yeah,
Celebrates
by adding and dropping players ad hoc.
That's amazing.
Nice.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for this week's pod. We're at around 45 minutes. So, Sherry, thanks so much for jumping on here today.
Yeah.
Got a busy schedule down there.
Good luck to all. Except for Houston, Detroit, and Toronto.
Let's have a great week, and everybody get your trades in before the deadline on March 7th. Bill, any final thoughts?
Make some phone calls. People get like you said, let's make it a fun end of the week, especially over the weekend. If we're hot and heavy action with trades, that'd be fun. Darnell Nurse is available, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if I should or shouldn't trade him.
That's a bomb.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't, but that's good to put in the pod.
Yeah, it's the cliffhanger for next week.
That's the one. Make sure you check us out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also on YouTube. We're live. That'll do it for this week's pod. We'll talk to you soon. Happy hockey, and let's go North Stars / Minnesota Wild. A wagon. They're a wagon. EHA for life.
See you, fellas.
Nice. Thanks, Jerry. Bill, good job.
Thanks. I realized about 3/4 of the way through that